Welcome back, everybody. My name is Tom Olsen. The name of the show is Olsen on Law, every Saturday at 11 a.m. right here on News 96.5. We are coming to you absolutely live this day after Hurricane Matthew. Chrissy, here's a text from somebody about trees. So we'll talk about tree law here again. So first of all, let's go under this assumption. The tree was healthy as far as everybody knew. Nobody knew that the tree was diseased or defective, okay? So when the tree comes down, it's coming down by act of God, as in Hurricane Matthew, okay? So let's assume that the tree is on your property. It comes down by act of God. It does damage to your neighbor's property. Are you responsible for that damage? The answer is no. It came down by act of God. Your neighbor will have to repair their own property.
Whatever's on their property.
Yes, yes. But he has a little nuance to that question. That is this, is that his tree, by act of God, falls down onto his neighbor's property. Is he required to remove that tree beyond his own property line? And I think the answer to that is no. So if your tree, by act of God, falls down onto your neighbor's property, as far as I know, the law says your neighbor will have to cut up any part of that tree that's on your neighbor's property.
That's what I understand, too. I think you're right. And, of course, I know that part of it comes down to insurance companies, too, and doing that. But you're right. Whatever's falls onto the neighbor's property, they're going to be responsible for taking care of it.
Okay. Now, everything, of course, is different if that tree was diseased or defective and you knew it was diseased or defective, but we're assuming that it was a healthy tree, came down by act of God. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of that going on. Now, speaking of which, my neighbor, let me give him a shout out. His name is Ed and Caroline.
Yes.
Their big old oak tree fell down across my backyard. And thank goodness it didn't do any damage, and I happened to be in California visiting my grandkids at the time. And so Ed, kindness out of his heart, paid a big tree company to come over there and chop it all up, even though it's laying across my backyard. Thank you, Ed and Caroline.
Right. He did not have to do that. But again, great, kind man. And furthermore, Tom, he went to the extent of then realizing that there was another one that could possibly be an issue in the future. So he had that one removed as well to make sure. But the part that was on your property, you would legally be responsible for. But for Ed said, hey, Tom, I'm going to make sure to take care of that. And he did do that. And, actually, thankfully, that only happened a month ago.
Right.
Because there was an issue with the tree, Matthew could have brought it down.
Yeah, so timing was right for it, certainly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a beautiful oak, but it was rotten at the base, man. That was clear.
Yes.
And, the other thing is that's where I had my swing, my bench swing hanging from one of those branches on that tree. So I had to move my bench swing to another oak tree.
It's now in a new home.
It's got a new home, yes. And, I was getting ready for the hurricane. That's one of the things I did was to unbuckle the swing so it wouldn't be swinging around like crazy in the high winds.
Absolutely. Because, again, it's the winds in general, but then the gusts, man, it can really just, cause havoc with lots of things in your backyard.
Again, we want to say we know that there are people out there probably right now listening to us on a battery-operated radio, and we are so sorry that you have lost power. There's people in our neighborhood who have lost power, and you and I have both been through it. We know how uncomfortable it is, hot and humid.
Frustrating.
No TV, no stereo, no radio, no lights.
No refrigerator.
Yeah.
It's just in every way it is completely frustrating because it changes your life for that time. It absolutely changes your life, and you can't. There's no minimizing that, and it is tough, and we understand. We have been there, and we're so sorry.
Hey, folks, my name is Tom Olsen. The name of the show is Olsen on Law. You're listening to News 96.5.